Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for the lab at Longworth Theater. My name is Kate Morhini. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Artistic Associate Literary here at Longworth Theater. To start, I'd like to share that at Longworth Theater, we acknowledge that Indigenous peoples and nations have for generations stewarded the lands and waterways of what we now call the state of Connecticut. We honor and respect the enduring relationship that exists between these peoples and nations and this land. We are standing on the unceded territory of the Paugussett, Quinnipiac, and Wappinger peoples. We remind ourselves that along with stolen land came stolen people. It is our responsibility to the future to know our past. Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us for the lab. If this is your first time, just a little bit about the program. It's a free program that's generously funded by the Mellon Foundation. And these events are curated by local or national artists who are in residency either virtually or in person at Longworth Theater in the month leading up to their event. And the subjects that they explore in the lab are as dynamic as the artists that host them. This month's residency is going to feature the producing collective Radical Evolution, and I will go ahead and actually bring them in right now to introduce themselves. All right, welcome. I'll turn it over to you folks.
Hi, everybody. Just to do a quick round of introductions, and thank you, Kate. It's so exciting to be here, and thank you to Longworth Theater for bringing us into this. Just a quick technical thing, Julian, I believe your camera is still off, so if you can just pop that back on as we're doing our introductions here.
My camera's on.
Is it? Because I can't see you.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Dark. Oh, it's dark.
The first rule of theater: the technology will always fail you. But let's go through and let's start. Sara, do you want to say hello?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Sara Ornelas. I use she, her pronouns. Yeah, that's
awesome.
me.
Great. And interesting. Mal.
Hi, everyone. My name is Xiaoqing. You can also call me Mao. That's my equity name, actor, a stage name. I am for now as she, her. Nice to meet you.
Awesome. Julian in the darkness, do you at least want to say hello?
I know I'm in the darkness. I can see myself perfectly fine. That's so strange.
Is it just me? Is he in the dark for y'all as well?
He's in the dark for me too.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm in the dark. I take it off on my camera's on. Oh well.
Yeah.
Hello.
Maybe try refreshing the screen. Maybe just try refreshing the web page after you say hello.
Now they just took me out.
With theater people, not film people, y'all. This is. Did we lose him? Okay. So while Julian is going through it, just to give you a little bit of a sense of what we have been doing for the. Oh, there you are, buddy. Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Nothing changed for me. I just had to restart me. Hi. I'm Julian Mesri. He, him, el. Anything else?
No, that's good for now. And then my name is Beto. I use he, him pronouns as well. So just to give you a little bit of a sense of what we've been doing and what we've been working on for the past couple of years, Radical Evolution, or RADEV as we sometimes call ourselves, has been really thinking about creating a show that has been inspired by a particular album of music that really speaks to us. And that album is Linda Ronstadt's Canciones de mi Padre. If you are not familiar with this album, I encourage everybody to check it out on Spotify. It is absolutely gorgeous. And not only is it beautiful music, it holds a particular place in American pop history, really, but also in particular the history of Mexican Americans and Mexicans living in the United States and our relationship to this beautiful collection of music, most typically associated with mariachis. And the story of how Linda came to want to celebrate this album and sing, as she says as in the title, the songs of her father, and celebrate this music as she herself is a Mexican American as well. And that really spoke to me, and as like it did to, you know, the millions of people who bought copies of this album when it came out. I believe it is still accurate that Canciones de mi Padre remains the highest grossing non-English language album in US history. So it gives you a sense of how many people bought this album. I know very few Mexican Americans or Chicanos that did not have this album, did not have this record in their house, was not familiar with it. It really kind of wanted to think about that idea and wanted to celebrate it in a true Radev way, which is that we don't necessarily want to replicate or definitely make something based on it, but really use it as a launching point to explore a lot of different ideas and things that we're interested in, that are themes that we come up with and explore as we're exploring this material and these songs. So that's what we've been doing. We actually started working on this project in 2019, I think. Is that right, Sara and Julian? Our first kind of gathering together was in 2019 in a room to kind of play with this music. And then we all know what happened in 2020. So it's been an interesting road and journey for this project, as it has been for the entire world since then. We're so thrilled that when we have been talking with Longworth about this piece, that they open up an opportunity for us to be in residence, to continue to explore this project, to continue to explore where it's heading and what we're thinking about, and how we're thinking about presenting and sharing our ideas. Sara, Julian, or Mal, did I hit all the things? Are there things that I haven't talked about that you think are interesting to share about the project?
I think I have a very interesting feeling, because I actually just got to, the first time I listened to this music was on Monday, on Monday night when we were rehearsed it. But it felt so catchy. And I felt like many of the music, I definitely heard it somewhere. I don't know where, but I feel like it was so familiar to me. It sounds really familiar to me. But yeah, that's the magical part. And it really actually related some of the older genres of the Chinese music. Actually, not Chinese, like pop kind of mixed genre music to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you, Mal. Yeah. Sara, Julian, did you get it?
I think you got it, bud. I'm excited. I'm excited to
Maybe it's worth talking a little bit about like what we've been doing. Oh, I'm sorry, Julian. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh no, I was going to agree with that. I think, you know, that is very much what we've been working on, and you know, for this particular showing, we mostly, you know, this weekend we really have been trying to flesh out how to build a theatrical experience that reflects our, you know, the origin of an album like Canciones de mi Padre comes out of, you know, Linda Ronstadt's own personal relationship with her Mexican identity, with singing songs with her family. And so being inspired by that album, we were trying to figure out how to generate a theatrical experience that could convey that feeling. And not just with staging or theater, but also how we would approach the music in that sense, you know, having, you know, and so many of us as collaborators have grown up in musical environments with our families, especially in Latina households where, you know, like singing folk songs or singing these traditional songs kind of becomes part of like a family party or a family gathering almost mandatorily, like never not have that. So, and so I think that, you know, this weekend was definitely a way for us to start to carve out what that's like theatrically. And then these last days have been singing songs, you know, as Matt just said, they're really timeless songs in a lot of ways. And they are songs that are also accessible, because that's one of the beauties of sort of folk traditions, is that they are learned in different ways, and they are built around different kinds of learning. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for adding that, Julian. And I think that's a great framework to think about, because we've been spent about the first half of our time in this residency, or this last week really just thinking about not only what the story that we're trying to tell is, but how we want to tell that story, and in what environment we want to tell that story, and what is the world that we want to build to share with other people. And then the next half of it, in the last couple of days, has really just been focused on the music and what we've been doing. And just to say a little bit quickly before we get into some of the songs, Radical Evolution is a performance collective. We do come from the devising and ensemble-based traditions. And as such, we tend to take a little bit of a fluid look in terms of like what people do with inside the work. But we also all tend to kind of like lead with particular things and ideas and strengths that we want to have. So you'll see kind of in this, you know, typically, for example, I typically work on text and writing and script work and things along those lines. And you will see Sara as performing in the piece and singing some amazing music, and Julian also performing in this particular place, but also serving as someone who is key funneling. I think, how would you like to call yourself, Julian? Are you arrangement?
Like music director, arranger, like, you know.
And then we're talking about what instruments we wanted to bring into this project, at least this particular moment in time. And we knew we had guitars available to us between Julian and Sara, and what other instrument. And Julian said the violin. And I said, well, I can think of very few people other than Mao that I'd want to bring in a situation like this, who has been, if you recognize her, if you're a Radical Evolution fan and you saw songs about trains, you should recognize Mao and her brilliant work that she did in that project, as did Julian and Sara as well. So I think, and me in the rare times that I jump on stage. So I think without further ado, we should just share some of what we did. And we were talking about what we wanted to share, because the storytelling and the world stuff is still so very much in process. What we thought we would share is the thing that brought us into the room together, and that is the music. So we record ourselves playing a couple songs, and so I think we just want to share those songs with y'all. So let's just play a song right now. How does that sound? Great.
quiera con llenado de luto mi vida, abriendo una herida en mi corazón. Tú, solo tú, eres causa de todo mi llanto, de mi desencanto y desesperación.
Awesome.
That was so wonderful. Thank you so much for it's I love, I mean, I've already watched some of these on my own earlier today, but it's just so wonderful to experience these. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know from you all what was, I mean, you've spoken a little bit about it already, but what was the process of creating this music together and rehearsing it and learning it like?
I can go. It was honestly just a delightful time. I think mostly because we already have an unestablished relationship. You know, Julian and Mao, we've worked together, and so while the process was really fast and speedy, I think not feeling the pressure to be so performative, I guess, and just enjoy singing the music that I feel its original purpose is to bring people together. And to sing together, obviously with a drink in hand sometimes, and so it really was just unifying and very warm. It was just very warm to share that space and to be able to sing songs that well, for me, that I hear all of the time, but to actually sing them with other folks is an incredible experience. It's really good.
I love that Sada said that, because I feel it. You know, one thing we're really trying to explore when we're thinking about performance is, you know, similar to like how the staging is non-proscenium, in many ways the performance is non-concert, in the sense that we're trying to move away from that like hyper polished like feel and more of community feel. Even it's how we're learning it, when we're sitting in a room having fun, trying things out, and trying to centralize the experience on our connection and on just our enjoyment of the songs. And hopefully you can see some of that in the recording. It was very fast and furious, but you know, I agree that since me, Sada, and Mao and Beto, like we have experience with songs about trains that similarly had that kind of communal approach to creation and music. It was kind of a no-brainer for me to ask Mao to join us for this week, because you know, the just, you know, we listened to the song once, and then, you know, the next day Mao had spent some time with the recordings, was like ready to go with a bunch of new parts, and so kind of opening ourselves up to that is really special, and kind of reflects you know, a larger version of a smaller version of what is a larger process.
Yeah, that's. Oh, go ahead, Mal.
Oh, sorry. So yes, so I think definitely with our experience with songs about trains, and you know, we all know kind of how we work together as a group, and we basically kind of, I think when we play some notes, we already kind of have that kind of what do you call it in English? The how to say that word? Sarah, please help me.
I don't know. It doesn't have
the connections. Sorry. Yes, the connections. And plus, I feel like the way that Julian works, he never gave us any pressure. He was like super chill and super laid back. He's like, whatever you want to chime in and bring your, you know, bring your inspiration. And so actually, I could actually use some of my own creativity into the piece. That gave me a lot of space.
To you, Mal, you should hear the things Julian says to me.
Okay.
I'm kidding. Love you, buddy. I think, but it brings up a really good point, and it's something that anytime that we as a company explore folk traditions or explore music that comes from our communities as well, because I know Sarah and I grew up with this music, and Julian teaches mariachi, or has previously, and so there's familiarity with it. But our interest as a company, as Radical Evolution, has never been to take folk traditions and attempt to find some kind of authentic replication of what they are. What we're really interested in is the artists who are interested in this music presenting it in their fullness, right? In their complete capacities and what they're interested in sharing, I mean, we talked about it in the room with the last song, which I'm so happy at least a couple of people recognized that classic song, Tu Solo Tu. You might know it from the Linda Ronstadt album, or you might also know it because Selena made it popular back in the 90s, right? And her version of it, which is very, very different. And so, now we're thinking about, well, what's our Tu Solo Tu, right? What's this group's version of it? How are we adding to that tradition and the history of that song? And so I think that's something that is, I personally, while I didn't play music, I got to be in the room while this music was being generated. It's something that I'm always so fascinated by and love listening to and experiencing in the room.
What do we think, team? Shall we move to the next song?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Just a moment.
Sounds great.
Ay, qué re chula es la fiesta charra, fiesta del sol. Donde los charros valientes con sus cantos la evocación. El jaripeo es un festejo que huele a surco y a tradición. Regalo de la faena, más terminada de mi nación. Qué rico es el jaripeo y cuánto son animación. Yo quiero montarme un toro pa' que me mires mi amor. Yupa, yupa, yo. Yupa, 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 yo. Yupa. Yo quiero montarme un toro pa' que me mires mi amor. Y ay, ay, uy, uy. Eso, mi linda, baila. Ya comenzó el jaripeo, la gente aplaude con emoción. Y un toro viene rodado, muy bien roleado por Doravor. Ya pretalaron un toro para que la monte Don Filimón. Y mientras sus asadores sonían la reata con gran primón. Bonito es el jaripeo y canta su animación. Yo quiero montarle un toro pa' que me mire mi amor. Yupa, yupa, yo. Yupa, yupa, yo. Yo quiero montarle un toro pa' que me mire mi amor. Ay, ay, ay. ¡Ajá!
Sada, I just want to share that
Yeah.
after we recorded that song, I'm pretty sure it was after we recorded that song,
Uh-huh.
you like turned around and looked at me and you said, I love singing this music. And I was just like, that's so great. Like I was like, and when I think about like what this music means, right? And I think personally, as I mentioned in the room, why I think this album was so successful, that is our inspiration, was the joy behind it, right?
Yeah.
Like when you listen to Linda sing this music, you hear how much she loves it, or if you see her perform it, right? How much so. Julian just shared an article she just shared recently about this, right?
Well, I think that joy is such a great operative word. And I was thinking about that even before we got to this song, about how, we're not in the business as Radical Evolution of like recreating things in the most perfectly authentic, historic way. But I think our way of paying homage and our way of adhering to tradition is finding and unlocking that same joy that is in not just the listening, because we all enjoy listening, but also in the performance, and having that become sort of infectious. And there's something that Sada was saying, I think earlier this weekend, about how like it's rare. Was it you, Sada, or maybe my Bengalia, about how she's never seen a mariachi band not look bored sometimes, like in many ways, and like how as we co-opt these traditions and they just kind of become the thing you have in an event, it loses some of that joy. And then by bringing it back into sort of a collective of friends, of artists, it kind of reinvigorates some of that.
Yeah. And just because you brought in a name, Julian, and I so apologize, I should have mentioned this when we were talking about sharing who we are. We just want to acknowledge some of the people that are a part of this project, or at the very least a part of this last couple of weeks of work on the project, who are not present on the Zoom. I think I would definitely start with the co-founder of Radical Evolution, Merope Peponides, who's my partner in crime in so many ways, and so excited about being a part of this project. She's listening. I can actually hear her chopping vegetables in the other room right now. So you can talk that. And then I also want to just like really highlight the incredible work and leadership of Galia Bakal, who not only is serving as, kind of a director and also a part of the collective core creative team of this project. She also has the distinction of being the Radical Evolution Artist in Residence this year through the NISCA Council of the Arts program. And we're so thrilled that we've been able to have that opportunity to spend this year with Galia working on this project. And then I also want to acknowledge a student from Pace University. Shout out to Cambria Martin, who has also been a part of this project this week, being with us in the room and sharing and learning and participating and giving us her perspectives on this material. So those people were definitely part of our time and our experience, and it couldn't have happened without them.
We see you in the comments, Cambria. Hello.
I think that's so true, what you're saying too. And I can't not hear this album and not, you're talking about like what this music means. I don't know how other people, I can't not hear this and not think about my family. And I can't not hear this and not think about my mom. If she's listening, hello, I'm happy you're here. I can't not think about my abuela and my grandfather, who I have stories about particular songs that mean something to him on this album. So there's just a really intense connection that I have with it in that context. And so to get to hear it and reshare it and rebuild it, it's so much fun. It's so much fun to be in the room.
And I think also to kind of segue into the next piece, because I think we're doing Sol que tú eres, right?
Mm-hmm.
In addition to, I've always enjoyed the vastness that mariachi music, the scale of emotions that mariachi music has. You have you have longing, you have anger, you have sorrow, you have sorrow / pain and celebration, right? Like La Charreada is very much like, oh, this is a festival, and look at all these bulls riding, and I want to get on a bull so that my babe can like look at me, and Tu Solo Tu, which is very heart-wrenching, and you broke my heart. I can't, I'm drunk because I can't see you anymore. And El Sol que tú eres is a song that I had never heard before until I heard the Linda Ronstadt album. And it's just one of those ballads that still identifies as mariachi, but is it doesn't really need the frills. It is so gentle. It is so beautiful. And I love the gentleness that mariachi can also provide as well. And the quietness that it brings, the love songs. It's gorgeous.
Let's hear it.
Do we want to hear it?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Sol redondo y colorado, como una rueda de cobre. De diario me estás mirando, de diario me miras, pobre. Sol que tú eres tan parejo para repartir tu luz. Habías de enseñarle al amor a hacer lo mismo que tú. Me miras con el arado, luego con la rosadera. Una vez en la llanura y otra vez en la ladera. Sol que tú eres tan parejo para repartir tu luz. Habías de enseñarle al amor a hacer lo mismo que tú.
Tears. Tears from my face.
But also, like, something that's interesting to note, because I can't not think about the the connections to everything that each of these songs have, and also like where they come from and things like that. Like this particular song is always, I think, so cool to sing in our context because that has a connection to the theater. Because if Linda Ronstadt learned this album while working with El Teatro Campesino, and specifically she would sang it with Danny Valdez on a PBS special back in the day. And so that connection, right? And Danny learned it on the picket lines during the grape strikes, right? And being a part of that movement. So that song is connected not only to our kind of political history as Chicanos and Mexican Americans, but also our theatrical history as well. And I just had to say that. And shout out to all the amazing people at Teatro Campesino. I love all you guys, and they inspire me and are inspiring this project, whether they realize it or not. So, you know, that's just something I think is so cool about that piece too.
Speaking a little bit about, you mentioned the theatrical connection. You know, I know these songs are part of a larger piece that you're creating. I'd love to hear more about the world of that piece and the way that it's going to inhabit space.
Yeah, I would too. Oh no, we actually made a lot of progress on figuring this out. You know, as a company, you know, like it's not, you know, it's not a scenario where, you know, some people might think of like, okay, a playwright has gone away and written a play, and then we're going to come in and we're going to do the things and stuff like that. The way we create is much more collaborative, much more cohesive as a group, and we really try to work together on it. So a lot of what we were doing this week was that. I'm trying to think of like what I'd like to share about that. I think one of the things that, no, you know what? I'm going to let other people say it. And say, just as the writer, I'm going to step back and let's see what other people want to share about that process.
Yeah, I don't know how much I want to share either, but I think that one of the things that was really important for us was to create a pristine kind of event. And I think that thinking about it more like an event rather than a like full-on like performance, I think is really important. And so there are story elements and there are characters, but really within the context of this event that is in a lot of ways interactive, in the sense that the audience gets to choose what stories they listen to. They get to choose how much they want to participate in the family event that is happening. And in that way, there are musical performances, but those musical performances aren't limited to just kind of this big number that everyone gets to see. It might happen in different parts of the experience in the house and stuff like that. I don't know. What do we think? Anything else?
I know that we also, yes, and to piggyback, we were also discussing in regards to making it interactive. We were also potentially thinking about having a 4D experience, and so having a specific scents like copal or cumin, or having an asada, or having people actually make tamales, figuring out ways in which the audience can really participate in what I think we might be creating a bit of a family reunion, and trying to incorporate the audience into the family, and talking to them as if they are family. And yeah, I think one of the major things that we were trying to work on is stepping away from Western theater, which is kind of, you know, like shut up and watch this thing, and really trying to have it, I guess, have a welcoming environment of talking and laughing. And it's been a lot of fun. We there are some characters in there, and obviously there's mariachi, but we were even flirting with the idea of not having like a legit mariachi band, having the mariachi band be just people who are a part of the family, and playing it in a very relaxed way, kind of similar to what we've been looking at in the videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the things that's always been a part of this for me has been the visual of, and I can't remember where this comes from, but Linda's saying that a lot of this music comes from like just being with her family and like singing them on like Sunday afternoons or something along those lines, you know. And that image, I think, has stuck with me ever since we talked about like wanting to create something like this. And I think that that's a huge inspiration for me. So this is a little teaser of the idea, because we're still like really kind of playing with where we're heading with it and stuff.
Thank you. I feel lucky to have gotten that sneak peek. Shall we move into the final song? Anything else folks want to share before then?
Something I'll say, this song is one of my personal favorites. And just a fun fact about, I don't know if I've told y'all this, but I'm from South Texas, Brownsville, Texas specifically, and I didn't realize that we have a very specific regional chicharra, like a very a cicada that is regional to us, and it makes a very unique sound, a sound that I thought all chicharras made. And then I went around and realized, oh, chicharras don't make this sound, and it's on YouTube. There are articles about it. It's a lot of fun. So this song is called La Cigarra, which is you know, when they make that sound, they're dying. And so this song, what I really love about it is, I think in particularly, I just really enjoy how we celebrate death in the Latino culture, and how death is not an ending, but a beginning. And I think that is very similar to other cultures as well. And
it is. It is.
And
you know, different kind of we call it 轮回. You have like whole round of different life, and then can go to somewhere else, and then you go back to, to another round. You may be
Yeah.
human or God or spirit or animal.
God would be so nice. But just this song in general is just discussing like the hardships of not getting love, but still choosing to sing anyway and to go out with a bang in your death like a cigarra. So that's all, just to end it.
Thank you. All right, I will cue the song up.
And this is La Cigarra take 2. 1, 2, 3.
Ya no me cantes cigarra, que acabe tu sonsonete, que tu acanto aquí en el alma, como puñal se me mete, sabiendo que cuando cantas, pregonando vas tu muerte. Marinero, marinero, dime si es verdad que sabes, porque distinguir no puedo, si en el fondo de los mares hay otro color más negro que el color de mis pesares. Ay, la, la, la. Ay, la, la, la. Ay, la, la, la. Hay otro color más negro que el color de mis pesares. Un palomito al volar que llevaba el pecho herido, ya casi para llorar, me dijo muy afligido, ya me canso de buscar un amor correspondido. Bajo la sombra de un árbol y al compás de mi guitarra, canto alegre este guapango, porque la vida se acaba. Yo quiero morir cantando como muere la cigarra. Ay, la, la, la. Ay, la, la, la. Ay, la, la, la. Yo quiero morir cantando como muere la cigarra.
That was incredible. I'm over here grinning from ear to ear. That was amazing. We'd love to just, before we begin to close out, we'd love to open it up to any questions from the audience. If folks have questions, please add them in the chat, and we'll address them here. In the meantime, while folks are doing that, I'd love to know from this team, what's next? What's next with this piece?
Yeah, so there's a few things. We're just like a couple of weeks shy of being able to share some really incredible news publicly about this project, and I'm thrilled. So anybody that is interested, and wants to know more about like where we're going and what information we have to share later on, feel free to connect with us. Probably the place where like the most active online and stuff like that would be at Rad Evolution and on Instagram. We're doing our best to be more involved there, and going to share some information there. But we're so excited to keep working on it. We're so excited to keep building it. We're going to be gathering again in December to kind of really take some more significant steps forward with a lot of our ideas and a lot of our constructive construction of the event of this show and building it. And then hopefully our kind of proposal is that in sometime next summer, we're going to have something in process, something or another that people can come to and see and experience that will hopefully happen at that point. And then from there, you know, we're hoping to do it somewhere and to start sharing it in a more fully realized way from that point. So yeah, that's more or less where we are, you know, like and working on it.
That's so exciting. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just checking the chat to see if we have any questions. Sara, how did you get so good at
gritos?
Gritos.
That's a great question, Roby. We used to have grito competitions in my middle school and my high school growing up. I never won any of them, but you know, I'm not. Yeah, so I just growing up hearing people grito, and it really, you really can't figure it out unless you try it. So it's very much like failing. But the competitions were like how long and how loud it could be. And there was a big festival called Charro Days, which is a festival that represents the friendship between Brownsville and the border city of Mexico, which is Matamoros. And so lots of us just screamed at each other for hours trying to figure out how to replicate it. So that's how I learned. Thanks for asking.
And there may or may not be a grito competition in this project at some point.
Yes.
Like, can we put a grito competition in the show?
Wait. Can I try it? I try to participate.
That's amazing. We have two other questions. One is, are you staying with the album, or are you looking for looking at other traditional content? And then, what's your favorite mariachi song? Question for the whole team.
Well, to answer the first one, I think that, you know, just like Beto was saying, you know, Canciones de mi Padre was definitely our inspiration. In particular, how the album was created and what the heart is behind the album. So I think that in light of that, we're really interested in possibly including other mariachi songs, other songs that affect us in that way, other songs that we feel like we have that commitment to. So I definitely feel we're open to expanding the repertoire. I mean, the repertoire of mariachi and Mexican folk music is so large. There's so much you can do with it. Oh, and my favorite mariachi song, I don't know, of the ones that we've been playing together, it shifts. I love hearing Sara sing La Cigarra. Sol que tú eres is also growing for me, especially the lyrics and how tied they are to the workers' plight. And I don't know. Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing that I would add on that we're also exploring that we didn't get a chance to explore during this time together, but it's something we've been talking about, is that, you know, folk traditions in music aren't just about music performance, but they're so often about dance as well. And so you can hear my Texas accent just came out there. It's about dance. But so a lot of the things we're thinking about that don't exist within the song, for example, are songs connected to specific dances that we're interested in, and we'll see if they make it or not. You know, a really amazing dancer that has worked with us before, Sandra Soto Silva. I first saw her when she did La Bruja, which is the dance where you do the dance in the white dress with the candle, right, on balancing the candle on your head, and just beautiful. And it's always stuck with me. And I was like, oh, could that be in this play somehow? Or could other dances that we've talked about being that. So those are things that we're definitely interested in. And yeah, and just echoing that, this is a project that was inspired by this album. It's not an attempt to replicate this album or be a jukebox musical of it. So we're definitely like opening up. And songs that we've shared and played and sung in the room that are like, if I have to go, my favorite, I can't not pick Dos Arbolitos, because it is one that is so connected to my family and history. But if I'm going to go off, I'm going to go a deep cut. There's this song called Siempre Hace Frío that I have gotten drunk and sang by myself way too many times. So like, it's just, I love it. I love that song. It's so sad and perfect, and it's everything I love. So that's another one. That's another one that is really into.
My favorite mariachi song is Cucurru Cucu Paloma. Lola Beltran made it famous. Yeah. Someone used to, no, that was Cielo Rojo. There was a drunk man who used to pay me $20 to sing it every night.
Wow.
So I don't know who hurt him, but someone hurt him real good. But that's my favorite mariachi song, Meres.
Okay. I think for tonight, all the songs we've been played, I love the last one. I think instrumentally it's the most challenging one. And I really love the orchestration from the album. It is just simply it just gorgeous. Yeah.
And I would add, from sort of the mariachi classes that I've taught, I love Malagueña. I love the Wapangos. So Malagueña, Salerosa.
Now I'm just thinking of mariachi songs. Like, which other one would I want? Which other one? There's so many good ones.
Oh, I saw Jen from my brother's online. Hi, Isaac. Thank you. I think I might actually be sporting a mariachi outfit. We'll see. It might be for this
spoilers. No spoilers.
Oh, you're right. I mean, we'll decide to wear it or not. I'm not sure.
Everyone will just have to wait and see.
Right? It wouldn't be the first time in a theater that we've worn mariachi outfit.
It will not, and it's certainly. I hope it's not the last. It won't be the last. Manifested.
Definitely be the last.
Awesome.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, everybody. This was such a wonderful lab, and we're so grateful to you for sharing, these pieces with us, and excited for what's next. I hope everybody will stay tuned for what's next for this project, and with y'all. So thank you so much, everybody watching, for joining for the lab at Longworth Theater. Again, generously funded by the Mellon Foundation. Stay tuned to check out more of our programming online and in person. And I hope everybody has a great night.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night.
Thanks, friends. Hasta luego. Bye.
Bye.